Many people reach a point in life where nothing seems wrong. Bills are paid, the routine works, days pass without surprises. From the outside, it looks like stability, and for a long time, that feels like success. There are no emergencies, no urgent decisions, no clear problems demanding attention. Life becomes predictable, comfortable, manageable. This is usually when people stop making changes, not because they decided to, but because nothing is forcing them to. Change feels unnecessary when things are not broken. Effort feels optional. Adjustment can always wait. This moment arrives quietly, often in the later half of life. Sometimes after children move out, sometimes after retirement begins, sometimes simply after routines harden. Nothing collapses, nothing fails. But something subtle shifts. Progress slows, not in a dramatic way, in a gradual one. Days begin to look alike. Weeks pass faster, years feel shorter. People often describe this phase as settling in, and in many ways it is. But settling in has a hidden cost. When routines stop evolving, they stop protecting you from the future. They only preserve the present, and the present, left untouched, slowly turns into the past. This is difficult to notice because stability feels responsible. It feels earned. It feels like the reward for years of effort. Why disturb something that works? That question makes sense, and yet it quietly reshapes outcomes. Because while life feels stable, time continues to move. Costs change, health changes, energy changes, circumstances shift. Stability does not freeze these forces. It only delays your response to them. Many people assume that as long as nothing is going wrong, they are doing fine. But fine is not a long-term position. It is a temporary one. This is especially true with money. When income becomes predictable and expenses are familiar, financial decisions feel less urgent. There is no pressure to adjust, no obvious mistake to correct. So decisions are postponed, reviews are delayed, plans remain vague, not out of neglect, out of comfort. Comfort creates the illusion that time is abundant, that adjustments can be made later, that there will be a clear signal when action is required. That signal rarely comes. Instead, the margin for adjustment slowly narrows. This is why many people feel surprised later in life. Not because something unexpected happened, but because nothing did. They assumed stability would carry them forward, but stability does not move, it holds. And holding is not the same as preparing. Preparing requires small changes, periodic reassessment, gentle adjustments. These do not feel urgent, so they are easy to skip. Years pass, and the gap between where someone is and where they expected to be becomes noticeable. Not dramatic, but uncomfortable. This gap is rarely about one bad decision. It is almost always about many decisions not revisited. Life changed, but the plan did not. The routines stayed the same. The assumptions remained. The context shifted quietly. This is when people start to feel uneasy, not panicked, just uncertain. They begin to sense that something is off, but they cannot point to a specific problem. Everything still works, but it works less well than before. This feeling is common, especially among older adults, and it is often misunderstood. People assume it means dissatisfaction, or regret, or restlessness. Often, it means something simpler. It means life has moved forward and the structure around it has not. This happens gradually, and because it happens gradually, it feels normal. Normal does not mean optimal. It only means familiar. Familiarity is comforting, but it can also be misleading. When people finally examine this phase closely, they often realize that the issue was never stability itself. The issue was the absence of reassessment. Stability without review becomes rigidity. Rigidity limits options, and limited options increase risk. This is not about making drastic changes. It is not about starting over. It is not about taking unnecessary risks. It is about recognizing that even stable lives require maintenance, just like a home, just like a car, just like health. Ignoring maintenance does not cause immediate failure. It causes gradual decline. Money works the same way. Financial plans made years ago may still function, but they may no longer fit current reality. Costs increase, needs shift, goals evolve. Without periodic adjustment, small mismatches accumulate. People often blame themselves when this becomes visible. They assume they should have known better, that they missed something obvious. In reality, nothing obvious was missed. What was missed was subtle. And subtle things are easy to overlook when life feels calm. This is why so many people say, "I don't know how I got here." It means confirming that the path still makes sense. For many older adults, this realization arrives quietly, often during a routine moment, looking at monthly expenses, reviewing a statement, thinking about the next decade. There is no crisis, just a question. Is this still working? That question is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of awareness. Awareness is what allows stability to remain useful. Without it, stability slowly becomes a constraint. The goal is not to disrupt life, it is to keep it aligned with reality. Small adjustments made early feel manageable. Large adjustments made late feel overwhelming. This is why reassessment matters more than radical change. People who age well financially are not those who made perfect plans early. They are those who revisited imperfect plans regularly. They treated stability as something to monitor, not something to assume. This approach reduces anxiety because it prevents surprises. Surprises are what create fear, not change. Change that is gradual feels natural. Change that is delayed feels forced. Understanding this shifts how people relate to stability. It stops being something to protect at all costs and becomes something to manage thoughtfully. Life does not require constant reinvention, but it does require occasional recalibration, especially as circumstances change. Ignoring that reality does not preserve peace. It postpones discomfort, and postponed discomfort often returns larger. One more aspect deserves attention. Stability often hides behind routine. Routines feel productive. They fill time. They create structure. But structure without reflection can become confinement. People become busy maintaining what exists. They stop asking whether it still serves them. This is particularly common later in life, when energy is more valuable, when priorities shift. The cost of maintaining misaligned routines increases. This is why small reflections matter, not dramatic changes, just moments of pause, moments where assumptions are questioned, where habits are reviewed, where plans are updated. These moments do not disrupt life. They strengthen it. They allow stability to evolve rather than erode. This is not financial advice. It is a reflection on how stable lives quietly change and why noticing those changes early matters. Many people worry that revisiting their situation will create stress, that asking questions will uncover problems they would rather not face. In practice, the opposite is often true. Avoidance creates background anxiety. Awareness creates clarity. When issues are named, they become manageable. When they remain vague, they feel heavier. This is why people often feel relief after reviewing their finances or routines, even if nothing changes immediately. Clarity reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is more stressful than reality. Another overlooked benefit of reassessment is control, not control over outcomes, but control over direction. Direction matters more than precision. A slightly imperfect plan that is reviewed regularly outperforms a perfect plan that is never revisited. This is true not only financially but personally. Lives that remain flexible age better, not because they avoid challenges, but because they adapt to them. Stability that adapts remains supportive. Stability that resists change becomes fragile. Recognizing this distinction changes how people view effort. Effort is no longer something to avoid. It becomes maintenance. Maintenance is not failure, it is responsibility. And responsibility, when practiced calmly, reduces long-term stress. This is the quiet benefit of paying attention before problems appear. This is not financial advice. It is an observation about stability, time, and the importance of gentle adjustment. There is also a social dimension to this phase of life. As people grow older, conversations change. Topics narrow. Certain questions stop being asked. Friends assume that things are settled. Family assumes that plans are fixed. This reinforces the idea that reassessment is unnecessary, that revisiting choices would be disruptive or uncomfortable. But comfort in conversation does not equal alignment in reality. Many people quietly carry concerns they never voice, not because they are severe, but because they seem out of place. This silence reinforces inertia. Breaking that silence does not require confrontation, it requires curiosity. Curiosity about whether life still reflects current needs, not past ones. Needs evolve. Preferences shift. Circumstances change. Ignoring those changes does not preserve harmony. It postpones adjustment. Another common belief is that reassessment implies dissatisfaction, that questioning stability means something is wrong. In reality, reassessment is a sign of engagement. It indicates care, attention. People who care revisit. People who disengage assume. Assumption is fragile. Attention is resilient. This difference becomes more important with time. As options narrow, attention preserves flexibility. It allows small course corrections. It prevents large disruptions. This is why stable lives benefit from periodic review, not because they are failing, but because they are alive. Living systems require feedback. Without it, they stagnate. Stagnation is not immediately painful, but it becomes limiting. Recognizing this early preserves choice, and preserved choice reduces fear. Fear often comes not from change, but from lack of options. Maintaining options does not require constant action. It requires awareness. This is the quiet discipline of later life, not striving, but noticing. This is not financial advice. It is a reflection on attention, stability, and how small reviews protect long-term well-being. One final thought is worth considering. Time changes not only circumstances, but perspective. What once felt important may no longer be. What once felt secure may feel uncertain. What once felt optional may become essential. Reassessment allows perspective to update. Without it, decisions are made using outdated priorities. This mismatch is subtle, but it influences outcomes. Updating perspective does not require dramatic change. It requires honesty. Honesty about what matters now, not what mattered before. This honesty makes stability durable. It allows it to support life rather than restrict it. This is the difference between living within routines and being supported by them. This is not financial advice. It is a reflection on time, stability, and the value of gentle awareness.